another episode of Tea Time with Keith, where you guys get all the tea on how these entrepreneurs have been so successful with their businesses. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up if you like it. You will. Check out my last episode as well. And today is a very special episode because I have my best friend on the show, DesDollas. So Des, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Destiny. I go by DesDollas. I prefer you call me Des. But I am 21 years old. I graduated from A&T last May of 2018. I am the Jackie of all trades. Yes, I do everything that I want to do. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina. It's the coast of the state, so down where the beach is at and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much
a little spiel. So y'all, me and Des are like really close, so I didn't really plan any like specific questions for her or anything like that. I want this episode, yeah, whatever. I want this episode to be more like a girl talk and just Des just telling you guys, because like she said, she's a Jackie of all trades, and she's gonna talk a lot about that throughout the episode. But you guys are just gonna see our
don't even call it a friendship. Don't even lie.
Alright, so first, like, how did you, so Des does braids, she does everything, but I'll just start off with that, because that was like one of the first things you started doing. So like, how did you get into braiding hair?
I was poor. In all honesty, I was extremely broke. It was the summer after my freshman year, so I did not want to go back home to Wilmington, so I wanted to stay in Greensboro, and the exchange to that, me and my mom came to an agreement. She let me stay and get an apartment if I did summer classes. So I enrolled in summer classes. I was here for the summer. I had just gotten a job at the Bojangles on campus. I didn't have a car. So I was literally walking to work because most of my shifts were day shifts because my classes were like, early in the morning. So I was walking to Bojangles every single day, depending on what time I got off. I'm walking home or catching Uber or bumming a ride or whatever. And my mom is just like, dang, I have to get you a car. And it was just so much going on. So when she got the car, I had to get my license because I was this person. I'm like, well, I don't have a car, so there's no need me getting a license. So yes, I was in Wilmington a lot. I ended up having to quit my job because I was back home so much. I wasn't in town enough to work. So after I got my car still situated, I came back to no job. Wow. So being that I was in summer classes, I did get a summer refund to pay my rent. But when I brought my car back, y'all, literally the night I brought my car back, I came back and I got back to Greensboro around 1 in the morning. When I woke up in the morning, I had to go get my tags, my, official tags, and my car was towed.
How did you get your car towed the first night?
I was just moving into the neighborhood. I didn't know the towing times. I thought that I would be okay. I literally woke up and my car was gone. I went to the office to get a parking pass. She's like, I need your tag, like your license plate number. Remind you, I still had 30-day tags, so I didn't know it. So I went to my car to get the stuff out of my glove compartment. And the funniest thing about it is that I backed in because I knew somebody had stole my 30-day tags too. Like, it was so much going on. It was so much going on. So I'm like, okay, let me back in case somebody does come by and they don't see my tag. So another Honda, a black Honda, was backed into the same exact parking spot that I was parked in. So I'm walking up towards my car and I'm clicking my remote and I'm like, this is a brand new car, so I know this remote works and it's not going off. So I get closer to the car and it's a 4-door. I had dropped a coupe. So I'm like, yo, this is not my car. Where is my car? I know for a fact I parked in this parking spot. So I was freaking out. Yeah, my car got towed. So all I had was the money for my rent. And so I had to pay for it because my mom was like, okay, if I pay for the cars to get out of the impound, I'm taking it. Like, you're just not gonna have a car. So I'm like, dang, like I just got this car. Like I just got used to having a car. So I had to pay for it. So I was short money on my rent. And I'm like, something has to give. Like, I have to get the car, but I also have to pay my rent. Like, rent is due in like 2 weeks. So people had already been asking me to do their hair because I usually do my own hair. But when people ask, I'm like, oh no, I don't do hair. Like, I don't know about that or whatever. But I'm like, shoot, at this point, I'm gonna have to hit everybody else who asks me because I need this money. And literally, I was doing single-lease twists. So I wasn't even doing like box braids for real. I was doing single-lease twists. And I was doing them for like $70. But I was working like every single day in, day out. Like, and that, before the 2 weeks came up, I had like $1,000 just from doing $70 twists. And They took forever. They were so time consuming and my hands were hurting, but I'm like, this is all I know how to do, so this is what it's gonna have to be. So that's how my braiding journey started out. And also in that same summer, it was these two girls, they were incoming freshmen. They were there for summer classes as well. And they were like, well, you know, I know you never tried it, but would you want to try like jumbo box braids on us? So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So they come and I did them. They came out great. And then from there, people just kept asking me like, oh, would you be willing to try this? Would you be willing to do that? And
Des really willing to try anything.
Literally, like, so that's how I got my practice in. And I was just getting better and better and increasing my prices as I went along. And here we are.
Man, so like I told y'all, Des do everything, so I don't even know what we should go to next.
What did I get into after braiding?
Well, Des has always been a fashionista. So before I got to school, when I was a freshman, because Des is a year older than me, before I got to school, I remember I had found Des on Twitter or whatever, because I was looking for upper class fits to have as a mentor or whatever. And Des looked so cool on Twitter. Now I know she really not. So she had like, you look like a cute little room and everything. And I remember this picture of you. You was in a pool with a flamingo.
Yeah, the little unicorn floating.
That could be my mentor. So we DMing and stuff. And but with that being said, like I saw that you were like into fashion and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, how long have you been into fashion? And then we're gonna go into like what else you're into fashion. But how long have you been into?
I got you. Well, my mom is like really into fashion. Like she does the high end. She likes, you know, just putting together outfits with cheap clothes, like not cheap, but you know, lower end brands. And so yeah, so growing up, my mom always like kept us dressed, and I'm her only daughter, so well, you know that of course, but I'm my mom's only daughter, so I was like her little Barbie doll. Like she used to dress me up, matching hair bows. We can fight in this interview. Okay, so yeah, so like matching hair bows, the little shoes, the sandals, like everything used to always be to a T. So growing up, I just got into the habit of like always being dressed up. And so when I got to middle school, my mom, she, you know, started giving me a little more freedom to, you know, explore my own fashion taste and everything. And I was always that person like, what kind of shoes is those? Like, oh, she got on Converse, like on to stuff that people really wasn't into yet. And so people used to joke on me a little bit just because of stuff I wear. I went through like a little rock star phase in middle school where I used to just like love neon colors and spikes and stuff like that. So I remember I had these little shoes and they had like zebra print, pink cheetah print, like they was like some really odd shoes, but I really loved them. And like people used to be like, what kind of shoes is those? Literally like the next year everybody had shoes on, like look. So it was right, so it was just always that type of thing. So I just pretty much, you know, grew up with a fashion taste due to my mom. But when I got to college, it was a little different because that was my first time like being around people who are from different places, who are into different fashions, like, you know, different stuff than I grew up witnessing for the most part. And you know, of course, you know, you can get hit to stuff via social media and magazines and whatever celebrities wear and stuff of that sort. But for the most part, all of us can't afford like high-end designers. So it was just interesting coming to school and meeting people who are, oh, I shop from this place online and I know about this website. So it's like I was able to just, you know, from making friends, I was able to branch out like where I shop at and different trends and stuff like that. So college is really a good mixing, like, you know, melting pot of people into different stuff. So that really got me into it a lot more because I'm like, okay, I might not like this for myself, but that looks really good on you. Like, so that got me into like, not styling per se, but just like being able to analyze what works for me and other people and how you can mix both trends to make a new trend. And I met Imani, the CEO of Pitch Posh. I met her in 2015 when I first got here. She did a little like a flash mob. It was, I feel like it was centered around violence on Black people and, you know, police brutality and stuff like that. So she did a flash mob type thing to represent that. So that was really cool. So meeting her actually expanded my horizons a lot too, because she's like she's so amazing. Like, her mind is really amazing. So it's like being around her opened my mind up a little bit more to what I was capable of as far as like my taste in fashion, designing, and just like clothing ideas in general. Like, so she really rubbed off on me a lot. So I started hanging out with her a lot around, like, you know, the spring of 2016. And, you know, I dabbled into modeling a little bit with being with her because she's like, oh, you know, you really got the look. And if you already like taking pictures and stuff, like, we can make it.
All right.
Y'all about to cut her off me a video, like I'm about to leave. But yeah, so you know, she would always put me in her fashion shows and her photo shoots and things of that sort. And you know, when I told her like, oh, you know, I think I have an interest in designing because I feel like for me, it's like, oh dang, I'm missing this piece from my closet and I can't find it anywhere else. Or I like going to the mall looking for something in particular and it's like, it's not here, right? It's not here. So I'm like, okay, I really want to learn how to do this. And she, you know, supported me 100% and, you know, just helped me out as far as like how to handle the business and how to go about designing clothes. And as far as like, you know, just trying to be creative and really put myself into my design. So I guess we can go into that, like my clothing line.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, so tell us about
So yeah, my clothing line is called Kai Nor Clothing. People always ask me how I got the name. Kai is my nephew's middle name. Like I came up with his middle name, so I've always really liked that name. So I added that, and the Nor, it was really gonna be like just Kai the brand, but then this girl had DM'd me on Instagram, and she's like, oh, I see. Like when I first came out with my brand, it kind of went like slightly viral, not like super viral on Twitter. And this girl, she's actually from like the UK. She had DM'd me on Instagram. She was like, your Twitter DMs were private, but I found your page, and I see you have your clothing line called Kai the brand, but I have a brand that's also Kai, like it was like really, really similar. And so I was like, dang, like I'm gonna have to add something because I don't want it to be that close or interfere, or if people looking for my page, they find her page. Like, so I literally went through a lot, like trying to think like, dang, what could I add on? And I'm not fluent, I'm not even gonna lie like that. But I took French a lot in high school. Like I took like 4 levels of French. So I knew a little something. So I was like trying to think like, oh, what's a really nice French word? And I was like, oh, Nor, like it means black. And I love my black people, like we the bomb. So I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna use Nor, Kai Nor. So that's how I came up with that. When I first started out, it was literally like, it was just so random. I just went and bought a sewing machine and a little bit of fabric and then made something, and it really turned out really good.
You made a bathing suit though.
See, this is even before that. Really? This was like, it was like a turquoise 2-piece set, and it had like a beaded trim on it. Like it was really nice. And I didn't end up selling it just because after learning more about like fabric and material, and you know, black women, we're naturally curvy and stuff like that, it wasn't the best material to be selling. So it was a nice sample piece. It did look good on me, but I'm not making clothes just for myself. I have to take into consideration women who are thicker, women who are smaller. So I think I will, like, you know, try to recreate the design in the future, but at the time it just wasn't good enough to be putting out. But I got a lot of feedback on it, so that was like, okay, well, since I can do this, I know that I can do more if I really, you know, put myself up to it. And so yeah, with that, I just had to learn, like, you know, different fabrics, materials, like different stitchings. Like there's so much, and being self-taught is so hard because it's like there's so many bases you have to make sure you cover, and you won't know until you try it, and you're like, it's just really a lot of trial and error. So I was still poor. I was still poor in December of 2016, and I got into a lot of financial issues that really aren't important enough for me to discuss right now, but basically I was poor. And so I couldn't afford to do it how I wanted to do it, and I'm such a perfectionist. I don't believe in putting out anything halfway, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put a halt on it until I can do it how I want to do it. And so I sat on it for a while, and sometimes I like really just gave up on it. I'm like, okay, you know what? This isn't it, it's not for me. And then sometimes like I would see other people or be around my friends, and I'm like get really motivated, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try it again. And then like it was just a constant battle of me like wanting to do it, not wanting to do it, and you know, just really figuring it out. And like as Kiara said, like I would do little designs and customs for myself. I make my own bathing suits and little tops and like, you know, quick outfits and stuff, but I never really committed to the clothing line. And so this past fall of 2018, I was like, you know what, I'm really gonna do it now. I'm in a better standpoint financially, mentally, I know a lot more, and I think I could work my way up to where I want to be, because I really wanted to do handmade items, but I'm like, with my schedule, I don't have time to hand make everything right now. So I'm like, okay, I could do graphics, so that can go into my graphic design business.
Exactly.
So with me doing graphics, I'm like, okay, I want to do hoodies because it was winter. So I'm like, okay, I can start off with hoodies, work my way up to wherever I want to be with it. So I was just researching, like, different clothing lines, how they started, and it's really humbling. I'm not gonna lie. Starting a business in general is extremely humbling, but especially clothing, because it's like you want to be unique, you want to be different, like you want to bring something new to the table, you want people to like it. So it's like, it was extremely humbling, and reading other people's stories is very it was comforting and inspiring, because I'm like, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the only person who's gone through this and felt this way. It's like, oh, am I good enough? Is it going to be is it going to work? And so with the hoodies, I mentally knew what the designs I knew how I wanted them to be, but I didn't do graphic design at all. So my best friend, Omar, he does do graphic design. So he obviously was doing them for free because we're so close. And I'm like, oh, when I get the money, I do want to pay you for your time and your work. But at the time, I really didn't have it to budget with. So he was doing them for free. But when people are doing work for free, you're in no position to rush them with them getting your stuff back. So he works as well. So he does graphic design, and he had a full-time job as well. So it's like I was waiting so long, and it was prolonging me getting my work done and launching my line. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to figure it out myself because I need this done. So again, Imani, the CEO of Pitch Posh, she put me on to some apps, because not only does she paint on clothes and she can draw or whatever, but she does graphics too every now and then. So she pretty much led me into the direction I needed to go as far as doing it. And I just sat down one day and I just sat there all day, and I'm like, I have to figure this out. And eventually I did get it, and I put out some really dope designs, and everybody's like, yo, I like this. Like, this is it's actually gonna work. Like, I fuck with this or whatever. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Look, it's cool. We all know.
But so people were like actually rocking with it. So I'm like, okay, I think this can go. And then my mom, she's such a critic. So it took me a few designs before she was like, okay, I like this one. So I'm like, okay, my mom likes it. This is a go. So that's how that started. And from there, it's just really been me playing with it a little bit until I finally got it to where I'm like, okay, this is the kind of content that I can sell to other people, and I can do graphics for other people now. Because at first, I'm not gonna lie, it was some little Dollar Tree type graphics, Dollar General graphics. They were really low budget, but. That's the thing about having a nice personality and a good aura. People will like you. People rock with you anyway. Because despite the fact that my designs, my graphics for others weren't exceptional, people were still willing to pay me and book me for their graphics. And that really means a lot. I started out, when I first started, I was doing $20 graphics, and literally whatever they think of, I could just try to do it.
And that's what Des is into next. So that's her newest venture.
Yeah, graphic design.
So we already did. We got hair,
modeling,
and we don't know what's gonna be next.
Right.
And she knows she got a degree, so it's just everything.
Degreed up. I got a high school diploma and associates and a bachelor's.
Okay, now
master's coming soon. Wait on it.
But that really inspires me though, because one, you graduated from college early. So she graduated in 3 years. Yeah, so she graduated in 3 years amongst her doing all of those other things. So it was really cool to see that. And I just want to ask you, give advice to young girls. Well, for one, I guess start with that want to do everything, because I think when we're kids, our parents are not against us doing everything, but they're like, why do you want to do everything? But I think it's good though, because now you found so many different avenues to be able to make an income for yourself. Definitely. So give advice to some girls that are wanting to try everything, but I don't know if they're holding to something back.
Well, initially you have to start where you are. Don't be afraid of anything. I always tell Kiara, if it sounds crazy, that means you're dreaming big enough. You don't ever want to limit yourself. Dream as big as you want to dream. Do not ever let anybody tell you cannot do something. Anything is possible. And 9 times out of 10, you are not the first nor the last person to do it. Anything is possible. Growing up, my mom, I did want to do everything. Every sport, every extracurricular, I did want to do everything. And my mom let me do it. I did cheer, dance, ice skating. I danced in the church. I did literally everything. Softball, soccer, anything that I ever wanted to do, my mom just went ahead and let me do it, because she's for one, the place I grew up at, a lot of people don't make it to 21, 22. So my mom's anything to keep you out of the streets and not getting pregnant and in boys' face and stuff, whatever I wanted to do, my mom just went ahead and let me do it. And that's an important thing that Black parents really should understand. Is like, there's so many negative things that Black children can be getting into. If your child is asking you to do something positive, and especially if it's something that they could possibly make a career out of, let them do it. Let them explore, let them grow and learn themselves. Like, that's the only way you're gonna figure it out, is when you're young, and that's the best way, because when you get older, it's easy to lose motivation and not want to do stuff. So it's like, you're only going to get more motivated if you start off when you're younger. And another thing is just, don't ever feel like, you know, because I know, like I said, I was poor. I did not have any money to my name when I started braiding hair. And it's easy to be discouraged by that, but you can make anything out of nothing. Like, don't be afraid to start where you are. And I wish I would have had that drive back then when I started my clothing line, because I could have even just been doing easy little customs for people to get the money up to be where I wanted to be. But like I said, I was such a perfectionist. I stood in my own way and held myself back. Don't do that. That's also a valuable lesson. Like, don't, like, be humble. Just don't feel like you're too proud and too good to start from nothing, because that's how I was thinking. I'm like, oh no, I want my line to be the bomb. I want to.
You just gotta start.
Yeah, you just have to do it on the leap of faith, and that's okay too. Like, if I would have had to do customs for people, like, okay, give me $80 and I can make this piece for you. That's enough money for me to go get the fabric and get my little profit from it. And that's being humble. That's starting from nothing. It's not costing me anything to do that. And I should have had that mindset back then. But you know, you live and you learn. But that's just my advice to anybody who might want to do it. Like, it's okay to start from the bottom. You have to start from somewhere. And if you don't have the money and the resources to be where you want to be, just work with what you have, because that's okay. And your journey is going to be so beautiful when you do make it to where you want to be. And you look back like, dang, I didn't even have no money to my name when I started doing this, and now I'm a big global brand. Like, that's really the end goal. You want to be able to have a nice journey to document and a story to tell. Like I said, I was poor when I was starting, when I did hair. No, I do not want to, I'm not about to candy coat it for y'all. I know some people will, like, you know, try to make their journey sound like it was smooth sailing. No, I was at rock bottom. Like, I was at the bottom. I didn't have a dime to my name. And it's funny because even now, I have people, like, if I'm like talking about like my journey so far, people are like, dang, like, you seem so happy, like you was living life. Like, that goes to show you, don't be fooled by social media and what you see online, because I'm, like I said, I was never dishonest about what I was going through, but I'm like, why do I need to tweet that, oh yeah, I'm poor, y'all? Like, nobody's actively, you know, advertising their struggles, but also just don't assume it's not there, because while I looked happy, I was depressed. Very much so. Like, I was very sad and broke, and that's okay too, because the struggle, it happens, but just don't let that limit you, and don't make it feel like you have to stay where you are. Like, you can figure it out. Like, it's okay. Like, you're gonna be okay. Even when you're at the lowest point you feel like you could ever be at, you're gonna be okay. You can only go up from the bottom. So
you only can go up. And y'all, I want us to keep talking forever, because we can, and we are once the camera goes off. But I don't want this episode to be too long, so hopefully I can have Des on for a part 2, and you guys can hear more about her graphic design business and everything she's doing. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm gonna make sure I link all of Des's websites, her Instagram, all of that stuff.
Book
and book Des, look, braids, everything. You can book her for anything. So anything.
So just
makeup next. Right. Like, she's gonna be doing it all. So thank you guys for watching. See you on the next episode.